I will be the first to tell you that success is not predicated on any type of natural talent at all. Let me repeat that. I'm going to be the first to tell you that success is not predicated, does not rely on natural talent at all. Outside, let me just preface that, or outside with the caveat of athletics. Obviously, if you're giftedly talented with, in basketball, for example, being 6'9", 260 pounds and can jump out the gym, yes, that's natural talent. But if that were the case, every pro basketball player would be like that. Prototype. The reality is there are guys under 6 foot that have been in the NBA, right? Was that natural talent or was it something else? There's people with who weren't as academically successful, still made it into law school, still graduated with a law license, and are great practicing lawyers today that I know. So it's not specifically natural talent that is the governor of your aptitude or highest level of success, right? So what does that mean? Bam. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Young Nguyen, and as my friends affectionately call me, Ninja, you all can call me the Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the beginning to the end, the alpha to the omega, talking about life, motivation, entrepreneurship, inspiration, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Once again, I want to thank all my listeners and viewers who've stuck with me, followed me, subscribed, commented, liked. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your shares. We are absolutely growing our audience now in our 16th, 17th episode in as little as 4 or 5 months. So that support is so much appreciated. If you're new to the show, just to let you know, we don't have any sponsors. So we are growing our audience straight through word of mouth. So if you find this episode or any other of my prior episodes valuable, if it offered you some insight, made your life better, if you learned something, even just one thing, found it humorous, found my guests entertaining, please do like, share, comment, and follow. We're on all social media platforms and on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes for full episodes. Just look up N2N Podcast, the N2N Podcast. And as always, if you have any questions or want to reach out to me, want to present a topic that I should talk about or ask a question that I can talk about on the podcast, please send your questions or comments or emails in to ask@the2npodcast.com. Ask, A-S-K, at the2npodcast.com. Man, it's great to be back in the studio. Feeling a little fall right now, even though it's end of August and it's still hot. Throwing off some huge pumpkin spice latte vibes today. For those of you who are only listening, I'm wearing some like mustard pants and a red t-shirt, sporting my British tan Nike Sakai's that are brown and orange. It's feeling like pumpkin spice latte as I think about the fall and cooler weather coming up. But the one thing I want to talk about today is kind of important because many people look at me. For those of you who don't know, I'm a doctor, lawyer, businessman, have multiple graduate degrees, been involved in technology, finance, just a lot of different things on my road to success and on my path for future success. And a lot of people, especially younger ones, look at me and say, man, I can't accomplish that because you just must have some natural talent, right? There's no way I can become a doctor and a lawyer and all these things because, for example, probably 2% of applicants get into medical school, probably less than that in a top-tier medical school. I went to UT Southwestern in Dallas, top-tier medical school. Probably a little bit more, 4 or 5% who apply to law school get into law school. To get both, I mean, I would think there's probably, I don't know the statistics, but maybe 2,000 or less physician lawyers in the country. So these are very rare elite things to have accomplished. So people look at that and say, man, there's no way I could ever do that. or there's no way I can be successful, or there's no way I can be a billionaire. There's like the top 1/2 of 1% become billionaires, right? I'm on my pathway there, not even close. But point being is that people look at me and discourage themselves because they feel that they don't have natural talent. Okay, I will be the first to tell you that success is not predicated on any type of natural talent at all. Let me repeat that. I'm going to be the first to tell you that success is not predicated, does not rely on natural talent at all. Outside, let me just preface that, or outside with the caveat of athletics. Obviously, if you're giftedly talented with, in basketball, for example, being 6'9", 260 pounds and can jump out the gym, yes, that's natural talent. But if that were the case, every pro basketball player would be like that prototype. The reality is there are guys under 6 foot that have been in the NBA, right? Was that natural talent or was it something else? There's people with who weren't as academically successful, still made it into law school, still graduated with a law license, and are great practicing lawyers today that I know. So it's not specifically natural talent that is the governor of your aptitude or highest level of success, right? So what does that mean? It means that success is high level of success is reachable for everyone. Anyone can get to that level of success. I'll give you the course example. For me, and I rely on this a lot, is that when my parents left Vietnam with me, my brothers and I, and came to America, they gave up a ton of wealth back in Vietnam to come here, to flee the communist regime. Literally with the shirts on their backs. Literally. They're smart, I would say, just because they're my parents, of course, I'm biased. But, I wouldn't say academically they're like the highest IQ type people. They come to America, don't speak the language, don't know the culture. In fact, there was a high degree of racial sentiment at that time. And obviously with the war that most of the country didn't agree with, there was a high level of tension around the war. And so they bring their entire family here, and what happens? Through hard work, through consistency, through dedication, through commitment, right? Through adaptation, through all these variety of skills and disciplines, they end up opening their own company, and within 4 or 5 years, they're doing several millions of dollars in business. Okay? Many would say that was successful, and I believe that's a level of success that otherwise would not be reachable were it not for those qualities. Were they the smartest? No. Were they the naturally gifted and talented? If you were to look at my parents, I mean, my dad was, 5'4", mom's like 5'2", right? Not athletic, not anything. They were just a couple with a family in their 40s busting their ass. And that's what it takes to be successful. People have this misconception, and I did for the longest time, that ultra successful people were in this club, and they would have profiles of everybody else below them, and they would sit around a conference table or a meeting table, go through profiles and be like, yes, this guy should be allowed into the club of success, or this gal or this person, they've done this. Okay, you are not selected to be successful. And people wait around believing that they just live their normal lives, and somebody will point them out and like, hey, you come here, let's go on this pathway to success. And that's by the furthest from the truth. But it's a hard feeling to overcome, because as you're sitting there going through your daily life, looking at successful people, you must think, man, that's just a whole different realm. That there's like a gateway that opens and closes that you're selected to enter through or not. And that's definitely not the case. The fact is that at each, as they say, there are levels to this. There are levels to this. People that achieve a certain amount of success, they run in the same amount of circles. People who elevate themselves to another level of success run around in the same circles. People who get to the ultimate top, they run around, and each time those circles become fewer and fewer and fewer of people. It may look like there's a club, but the reality is you hang around at the altitude, or you fly around at the altitude of of where you earn yourself into. Okay? So you don't get voted into a club of success. You earn your way to a level of success. You'll see as you go through your path, and as I've gone through and I'm still at the lowest level. I'm still working my way up, okay? You'll see though that at these meetings or at these events or at these, networking events, you'll see the same crowd of people. And you'll recognize each other, sometimes you'll do business together, but you'll see the same people over and over and over again. And then as you level up your game, whether it's through money or prestige or your position, you'll move up to another level. And there you'll start networking and going to meetings and such, and that'll be a different group, but it'll be the same group moving around. Then you'll elevate your game again, hopefully, right? And then you'll start networking. You're not leaving those other people behind. They're still part of your network, but you're not spending as much time with that network as each time you level up. And in fact, as you level up, you're trying to help those people below you come up to you as well. Okay? But the reality is that takes no natural talent. Everything required to be successful can be learned, developed, applied, reproduced, improved upon, and used to your benefit. And I'll give you an example. As I mentioned before, a lot of people say, hey, man, you must have had a photographic memory to memorize all those things required to get into medical school, law school, blah, blah, blah. Graduate number 2 in your class, all that things. The fact is I did have a photographic memory, or I still do, but it wasn't something naturally occurring. It didn't naturally happen. The reality is, and this is something I've never told anybody, but when I was young, I would practice my photographic memory. In other words, I remember reading books at a very young age. I would go through the book, and let's say I saw a picture on page 10. And throughout the day, I'd read, let's say, to get to page 40. And I will still try to draw the picture that I saw on page 10. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. Or alternatively, I would go through a book, and there was a word that stood out to me on page 15 at a specific spot on that page. Let's say it was like the third paragraph right in the middle, right? I'd read, and then weeks later, I would try to repicture that word on that page to work on my photographic memory. Oftentimes, even today, I'll replay the day of me through a camera lens. If that makes sense. As if I was outside my body as a third party videoing myself. And I'll try to replay the exact day to work on my photographic memory. If that makes sense. Okay, so I'm like here. Later in the day, I'm going to just close my eyes and meditate. Pretend I'm looking at myself through your camera, but in the room, trying to replay exactly what happened, the people that were here, the conversation that we had, to be as verbatim as possible, to work on my photographic memory, or keep those skills in play. It wasn't something that I woke up, I was born with photographic memory. No. Some people might believe that they are. I don't. It's something you can work on. But did those skills, did developing a photographic memory help in me academically? Yeah, of course it did. You know, a lot of education, unfortunately, these days, or back then when I went through school, was just rote memory. If you can remember this chemical formula, okay, apply it. If you can remember this mathematical equation, okay, yeah, get the solution. English literature, all these things, right? The better your photographic memory was, the better you would do on standardized tests. That's just a simple fact, right? There was some critical thinking skills, but your photographic memory helped in that. Okay, but I will tell you, I'm going to tell you through my personal experience, that was developed. It's not a natural gift. And so what I'm saying is that wherever you want to go, whatever your goal is, you can work and earn your way to that level of success. To believe that it's a natural thing, that if I just don't have it, I don't have the talent, I don't have the background for it, I just got to wait around. Somebody's going to find me, and then I'll be successful. That's if you sit in that chair, you're never going to get out of it, because that's just not how it works. You have to work and earn your way through success. You have to develop the skills to get to your goals. Okay, and that's part of this podcast. If you go back to original podcast number 1, you'll know that the purpose of this podcast, we're trying to help inspire and improve in a positive way, spread love, spread knowledge, spread wisdom to billions of people across the planet. That's the goal, right? And that message is that you can do it. You can do it. You just have to apply a lot of the principles we talk about on this podcast, a lot of the principles a lot of very successful podcasters also talk about. Hard work, grit, determination, all those things. Dig deep, right? In fact, I'll share with you now that I reloaded on 75 Hard. This is day 5 for me. Did it earlier this year. If you listen to podcast, I think number 5, if I'm not mistaken, podcast number 4. It talks about my first experience through 75 Hard earlier this year. But, it was one of those times where I felt I was losing a little bit of momentum or discipline leading into the second half of the year. And so what better way to trigger that than to try to go through 75 Hard again? Not try it, go through it. So these things you have to work on a daily, consistent basis. The grind, the grit, all of these things will get you to the success that you want. Success is not given. It's not something that just naturally occurs through gifts and talents and all those things. Success is earned. And the earning part is what most people are unwilling to do. Go back to my last podcast 2 episodes ago about the shit room. You got to earn it. You got to go through the shit to get to your goals and dreams. But it's so close. It's just across the room, right? You got to go through it. Grit, determination, hard work, studying, learning, acquiring that knowledge and wisdom that you need to get to that next level. And you will see. You will see. And I'll leave you with this. As you move up that success ladder in those networks and groups that you go through, you will be surprised. You will be surprised how welcoming those groups are as you earn your way up. They will invite you in with open arms. They don't select you, but once you present yourself, I have found that the most successful people are the most charitable and giving to those people that they recognize have earned or worked their way up. There's this expression in sports. As you all know, my son plays competitive basketball. Game recognizes game. When you get to that level, because they know, trust babies to the side, people that are in business, they know what it took or what it takes to get to that level. And so once you're at that level, there's sort of a unspoken level of respect that, hey, this guy or gal went through the shitter to get here. and they survived and they're here. So let me welcome them in. And you will find as you go up, these people are the most welcoming, generous, helpful in any way, because they want to see people succeed, right? Because they know the people before them wanted to see them succeed. It's just that way. It's just the way that it happened, or it happens. Okay, so the message of this podcast: work your way through. You can do it. You don't have to have these natural gifts and talents. You don't have to have this super high level of IQ. You don't have to have all the resources in the world. Those things help. They may give you a slight advantage, but that doesn't get you across the finish line. All the things we talk about in this podcast and all in episodes past to now, grit, determination, all those things, that's what gets you across the finish line. This is the End-to-End Podcast. If you like this episode, please do like, share, and comment. Follow us, please. We want to grow this audience. We want to accomplish our purpose of affecting as many lives as possible in a positive way, in an inspirational way. Follow us at all social platforms, at N2N Podcasts. Full episodes are on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. If you have any questions or have a topic you want me to talk about, please send it in. Ask at the N2N podcast.com. This is the Prolific Ninja. I look forward to talking to you in the next episode. What's up, man? What's up,